Welcome back.
Now, hello and welcome to week
2.
Is this week 2?
It is.
Wow, week 2 of props. All right. So we've covered fixed pitch props, the theory of propellers, how the stress is on props. Now we can get into props that do things that are not necessarily fixed pitch. All right. There's a lot of different styles of propellers. I don't think you necessarily need to know how they all work. It's helpful. Some of them are so old you'll never see them. I've only seen 1 or 2 in my career. But it'd be helpful if you could at least look at it and go, I know what kind of prop that is. And I kind of remember how it works, so if we can maybe work on that. So let's start with adjustable propellers. This is not a constant speed and it's not a fixed propeller. It's in some way adjustable. Well, again, so it's not fixed. It can act like a fixed. It's not constant speed. Oh, they can change pitch. So there's different kinds. So all right, so adjustable props. Let's see here. I could write that. Adjustable props. Let me see. So we're talking about adjustable. Adjustable props. All right, so the first one I'll talk about is ground adjustable. Ground adjustable. So as the name implies, it can be adjusted on the ground with the engine off. I feel I need to say that to you, this group. Only at idle, yes. All right, ground adjustable prop. Well, there's a ground adjustable prop on a Stearman with a Lycoming 300 horse on it. It's an R680, I think it is. And if we look real carefully, we can see the major pieces of this. Whoosh. Major piece 1 would be the prop blades. Okay, prop blades go into a hub that is 2 pieces. Got a forward and aft. And it's got to be 2 pieces because that's how you clamp it around the hub. It's got the clamps on it. You got the thrust nut, or not thrust nut, hub nut, thrust nut's back here. And you see that red stripe. What is that red stripe there?
It's a marker if it moves.
It's a move marker. So on a pre-flight, the pilot would want to walk around and look at that and make sure that stripe is completely unbroken, because if the stripe is like that, what does that tell you?
Prop moved.
Prop moved. So if this prop up here didn't move and this prop right down here moved, which is on the left side of the airplane is going to get more bite and it's going to go around in circles.
No.
No?
It'll be out of balance, but
Okay,
it won't go around in circles.
Anyway, half of the class was like, yeah, that would be bad.
Maybe bad.
What would it do?
Asymmetrical thrust. Vibration.
It would vibrate severely, and it would not be a good thing. And that would mean that this has come loose up here, and you're going to have all kinds of problems. Typically speaking, what it does, let's think it through. If this nut came loose, would the prop go to high pitch or low pitch?
Low.
Which force is going to make it go to low pitch? Centrifugal twisting force is going to have the greatest effect on it, assuming that it didn't rip itself out of the hub because the hub is loose. No. So then it's going to go to low pitch. How low?
As low as it can go.
So 0 degree angle maybe?
Yeah.
And how much thrust would you get?
Not very much.
And somewhere in my mind there's a story where somebody died from that. They lost blade pitch on one side. And it wasn't so much the shaking that got him, it was the loss of thrust. So all right, so we want to make sure that that is torqued and safetied with a little stripy thing right there. All right.
What's the stripe? Is it like tape or is it like a...
Some people use paint.
Oh, cool.
I've seen paint. All right, there's a thrust nut up here with the pin. The pin goes from the inside out. Why does it go from the inside out, not the outside in?
Because it's a pain in the ass to get the cotter pin on there.
Okay, rule 1. It's a pain in the butt to get the cotter pin in. 2.
Falls, it doesn't go through there.
So if what?
If it's on the outside and centrifugal force is going to throw out. If it's on the inside, it's just always...
If you put it in this way and cotter pin on the inside, it's hard to get the cotter pin in. But if the cotter pin should fail, the pin
Flies out.
flies out. But if you put it in this way,
It stays in
centrifugal
there.
force keeps it in. So, all right. So you have choices when you do this. You get to set it up. What would the limits be for setting it up? Where would I find them, and what would it look like? So that would be pitch limits, or more appropriately called blade angle. Where would I find these limits?
Propeller manual.
And what would it look like? Not probably that. Because it might say something like, this is a ground adjustable prop. Blade angles can be going all the way from 0 degree angled all the way up to a feather. There you go.
Your data sheet like 7 to 15 degrees.
Based on your,
Based on what?
the airfoil it's going on.
No. This is the real stuff right here. This is how you got to do this.
Would it be airframe because the manufacturer would know what, or for the engine, so they could
It'd be for the
determine
engine,
what
yeah.
what settings you would want to have it at?
You're thinking the right way.
Since some props are specific to the engine for vibration. TCS.
I'm hearing TCDS. How about the type certificate data sheet for the what? For the airframe. It's going to tell you what engine, and it's going to tell you what prop, and then it's going to say RPM, not over, not under. Remember the static RPM? So there we go, not over, not under. So where are we going to find that? TCDS for the aircraft. And it would probably have a max RPM, and a minimum RPM. Not going to give you blade angles, is it? Well, no, because I just said it won't. So you're going to set for max RPM, minimum RPM. All right. Where am I going to find type certificate data sheet? Okay, go to Varion, your subscription service, T-Data, iApproach, FA website. You guys are so excited tonight. Okay, and
We're back.
there we go. Nobody knew we left. All right. Can I make this go away? Table of contents. I don't know. Do you see that?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. This particular engine had the Lycoming R680 for all operations. Let me see, engine limits for all operations. That's our red line. Flight plan. Let's see, propeller limits. Propeller limits, see item 1A, B, C, D, E. Let's see. That one had the W670. Gonna get it in there? Other seats. Engine limits. Propeller. Right. I might have to just edit this part out too. I don't know. Wow. Maybe this old girl doesn't have it. There we go. Found it. So props. Well, this is the Curtis prop, the Sensenich, Macaulay, Ham Standard. So if pick one of those props, the ground adjustable. Ham Standard. Right. So pick one of the props. I don't know which one of this is ground adjustable offhand. I think it's the metal Sensenich. Including hub, fixed pitch width propeller, final limits. Anyway, we're going to get that, right? Not over, not under? Okay, so not over, not under. Not over, not under. So we can set our prop with any range you want as long as it's not over, not under. Not over, not under. Oh, there we go. Macaulay. Ooh, look at that. Pitch settings. Help you out a little bit. All right, so we got pitch settings right there. So, let me think. What do you suppose to take precedence? Pitch settings or... If I set it to 9 degrees, am I going to get high RPM or low RPM?
Low.
Or high.
higher as opposed to 11.7. So higher. So I set it to 9 degrees, and I get 1975 RPM. Is that good or bad? Oh, wait a minute. It says 9 degrees. I can go 9 degrees. Why is it bad? I oversped it. Can't do that. Same thing going, well, I set it for 11.7. Yeah, but, you only got 1,400 RPM. That's cruise prop. Allows me to do it. It says 11.7. Can you do that?
Gotta be inside the over-under.
You got to be inside the over-under. Yeah. What if it was the other way around? What if it 1925 you got it to like 8.75 degrees?
That's fine.
Well, I'd say if you're using a universal prop protractor, it's not that accurate. So I don't know if I'd worry about that. What does this mean? Avoid continuous operation between 1,500 and 1,650 RPM.
Means
That's
exactly
your
that.
static.
Vibration. All right, that'd be bad. So I do a lot of work as an IA inside of. Let's try to delete this part here, make it bigger. Inside of do a lot of work inside type certificate data sheet. When you're an IA, that's where it's what you have to do. And that's one of the things. If somebody brought me in an airplane for an inspection and I haven't inspected it before, I actually have to do that. I have to go to this. I have to look which airplane it is. It's going to tell me what equipment it has to have, the empty weight CG range, the number of seats, where they are. You got to make sure the placards are in there. You got to look through all this stuff, make sure it's got the prop that it says it's going to prop, blah, blah, blah. All right, so keep that in mind when you...
Inside that not over, not under range.
Yeah.
Would you want it to be like in the middle of there, or how would you?
Exactly what we're going to talk about. So give that man the $100. All right, extra credit.
Shit.
All right, so within that, we have to make a choice. And honestly, in my whole career, I don't think I've ever had to do this, but one time. And it was actually, ironically, I forgot the story, but plane that looked just like that. It was a blue Stearman. And it was a Stearman that was doing some sort of special flight from here all the way to the East Coast. All right, so from here to the East Coast. Which blade angle do you think I should give them?
Yeah, the 11.7.
The 11.7. Why would I give them the 11.7? Bigger bite, more pitch, go a little faster. Guy gets back from his trip all the way back from the East Coast, comes back in, and he lives, let's say, on a short field. Do you want to keep it 11.7? You got a short field, you want to go to 9 because it's going to spin the engine faster, more horsepower, better climb, better takeoff climb performance. Okay? So max RPM is going to give you better speed. And I just did that completely backwards. So we'll just do this down here so I don't screw it up. So higher blade angle is going to give you
Cruise.
okay,
Better cruise.
better cruise speed, but longer takeoff. Longer takeoff. And the opposite would be true of a low blade angle. So better takeoff. And shorter takeoff roll. I will admit there have been a few times where I have screwed up and left my prop out a little bit for one reason or another. Coming in, land, pre-landing checklist is mixture rich, prop in, but there are times when I have not done that quite right and missed it and intended to do a touch and go, which is the problem. And I have landed and hit the throttle. You can hear the difference. You can feel it and you can hear it. The plane lets you know, I'm not happy with you right now. And it takes me about 1 second to go, oh man, I forgot. You don't do it too many times. Okay, so we got the ground adjustable prop. Ground adjustable prop. This one happens to be steel blades. There's the hub. Hub is a two-piece. They're machined, matched pair. If you break the forward one, you can't call around looking for a forward hub. They are two-piece design. What else do I have to say about installation?
Why do you do touch and goes?
Huh?
Like, I see a lot of them, like touch and goes. What are they? What is the purpose of doing that?
Landing practice
It's fun.
or takeoff practice.
It's fun.
And it saves time too, so instead of just landing and going.
You have to maintain currency as a pilot, so you have to have 3 takeoff and landings
90 days.
for both the night and day. So if I haven't flown for a while at night and I bring my airplane in, you'll see me out there doing touch and goes. 2 to be exact. Why 2? Because the third one's at home. Yeah.
How do you know which blade's the forward?
The forward blade,
Yeah. You said forward and hand.
blade,
Hub.
Oh.
hub,
Hub is forward now.
the hub. This piece, the metal piece. It's split on top.
Oh, okay, so the forward.
Yeah. So yeah, split is up here.
You are doing your night full stop.
Of course,
Yes.
both tail wheel and night currencies, you must come to a complete and full stop,
Stopping.
which is not difficult on this runway to stop
You can
on the
do-
runway and then go.
You can do all 3 at once.
All 3 in one. Not even, sometimes you don't mean to. All right, in order to, we'll go back. Other ground adjustables. The Ivo prop, you know that because it says Ivo prop on the bottom. You can't really see that, but the Ivo prop, right here. It's got a locking nut up here. Take off the locking nut, twist this thing right here, and it will start moving the blades at a different angle. So it's got this little mechanism inside there that twists them. That's how you do it. This particular one would go on a Rotax warp speed, I think, warp drive prop. Loosen all the nuts, not all of them. That one, that one, that one, and that one, plus that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one, that one, that one, that one, and you can twist the prop, set the angle. Don't do the ones in the middle. Tighten them back up when you're done. All right. To do this, you use a universal prop protractor. I could sit here and explain it to you, and you would all go to sleep and go, I don't know what he said. So I think there's a video on it
There it is.
that explains how to use it, because once you get it in your hands and you can watch a video and read the instructions, it's really very simple. There's just a few key things you have to know. That is number 1, universal prop protractor. One, you must find 0 reference angle. Got to find the 0 reference angle, which is to say, you got the prop hub coming out, or the shaft of the engine coming out. It is not perfectly level. It's up a little bit or down a little bit. Now you could level the airplane perfectly and spend all day getting that prop or the flange of the engine perfectly level. And if you did that, you'd be fine. Without that, you're not fine. So we're just going to say that we have some sort of engine and it's sitting on its tail, so it's like this. Okay, well, you have to take the universal prop protractor and you're going to take either this side over here or this. Video here. What do I do? Let me see. Let's just let me tell you. Gary here. Hey, today we're going to talk about checking the angles on a propeller using a propeller protractor. Thank you. Now, some of you are pretty astute and you know that you can actually get. There we go. We're going to talk about checking the angles on a propeller using a propeller protractor. Now, some of you are pretty astute and you know that you can actually get an app on your phone that would probably do it easier. However, your app on the phone is not a calibrated piece of equipment. So if you're going to do it on aircraft, you'd have to have a calibrated piece of equipment. Although this one is not, we're going to pretend like it is. So, in order to check the angles of a propeller, or the blade angle, if you will, we're going to use the propeller protractor. There's a couple of things you need to know about the propeller protractor. First thing is you have to set it up according to your propeller. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this right here and lock it in so that the two zeros, 0 and 0, are locked together. Now you can see I can move, both scales move together. And what we have to do is we have to do what I call a zero reference angle. Now notice this particular engine is sitting at an angle. So it would do absolutely no good for me to find something that was level and make this level and call that level and then try and find out what my angles are. It would make absolutely no sense. So we have to find the zero reference angle. In other words, referencing the angle of the propeller to the actual crankshaft. Now the best way, an undisputed way to do it, would be to remove this propeller, set my protractor on the propeller shaft, and zero it out on that. Well, rather than do all of that, what we're going to use is the face of the hub right here, the hub nut, and we're going to use that. Now, no guarantees that that's perfect. A smart person would probably take the prop off, do a zero angle, zero it out, set the protractor aside, put the prop back on, and see if this matches. But we're going to just assume that this matches. So I'm going to come over here this way, and what we're going to do is line this up here, pull out the secondary level to make sure that I'm level this way, back and forth. And using this knob right here, remember I've got it locked in so both items move together. Bring it up until the bubble is perfectly centered. And once it's perfectly centered, the best I can get it, I'm going to lock this nut in right here. And what that does, it locks the outer ring. So I'm going to double check. I'm good. The outer ring is now locked, solid. So I'm going to unpin it. So now the inner ring will move and the outer ring stays put. So that is my zero reference angle. So if I come back over here and I line up the zeros, it's going to be level. Okay, now I'm going to check the angle of this propeller. We check the angle at the 75% station. It's been marked on this propeller. Here's an important thing to note. If you check and make your zero reference angle this way, you have to keep the protractor headed this way. So it has to come around this way. We'll check it back here on the face, the part that faces the pilot, and we will move this until it centers perfectly, and then read it up here off of the scale. So I have 21, 25, a little over 26 degrees is what I have. Now, let's check the other side. Remember what I said? I had it like this, so when I come around, I have to keep it facing that way. If I turn it around and face it towards me, completely wrong. So we're going to come back in here, we're going to check this one, same way, zero it out, making sure my secondary bubble level is level right there. Take a reading, I have 14 degrees. So this prop would shake real bad. I wouldn't want to fly in this thing. So on this side we've got 14, the other side we've got 26, I believe it was. You want it within 1/10 of a degree to keep the vibration and everything down to minimum. So that's how to check the angles on a propeller. That was easy. All right, got that?
Yes.
Okay, so the zero reference angle is just setting this outer bubble to level. All right. I'm sorry, and I feel not sorry. Sorry to me that I gave you a little giveaway about keeping it on the same side, because that's my most fun.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I check
was
it
like,
on
I
one
would've
side, and then I
screwed
walk
that
around
up.
the other side, and I go like this.
I would've-
Ah, you're way off. Throw it
Yeah.
in. And then you're supposed to go, oh man, Kevin, you're supposed to keep
You're
it the
in a
same way.
good
I'm like,
mood,
oh, that's
Dave.
right, that's right.
Made that video.
So,
Still try it.
all right, so we got that.
I'm sure someone will do
What kind of prop are these?
it.
What are they called?
I have a problem.
Well, the grouping. It's ground adjustable props. Okay. Ground adjustable. They're adjustable
On the ground.
on the ground
Put the engine on.
with the engine off. Okay. Okay, ground adjustable.
They look cool.
All right, this one is fully adjustable. So this is the, there we go. Copper's automatic propeller.
Automatic or aromatic?
Aromatic.
That's different.
Aromatic automatic propeller. So the aromatic propeller automatically changes pitch. Changes pitch in response to operational forces. So it has no pilot input. What can the pilot do to change it? Just change the way the airplane's flying. That's about it. Aim at the ground, aim at the sky, add throttle, pull throttle. That's all you can do. It is very complicated, in all honesty, to explain how this works. When I have all the material in front of me and I really think hard, it takes me about 20 minutes to go, okay, I remember now. I can get it. I can see it. And it would take me longer than that to explain it. So, and that's what all these slides are. So I could explain it. But I'm not going to, because you'd be like, oh, why are you hurting me? So the important points is, one, it has no pilot input. So it's going to work off centrifugal forces, aerodynamic twisting force, centrifugal twisting force, to find the optimum angle to operate at. Yeah, centrifugal and aerodynamic twisting forces. Remember centrifugal twisting force and aerodynamic twisting force? Mm-hmm. Centrifugal twisting force tends to make the blade go to
Lower angle.
And aerodynamic force goes to
Higher angle.
higher angle. Well, the way they do this is they put the plane of rotation offset. And that's where this starts to get, what are you talking about? And how does this drawing work? And that's usually the problem. It takes me forever to figure out what it is they drew and why they're doing it this way. I did have one. They're very interesting props. You can go up to them and you can turn them very easily by hand. They move quite easily. There's some oil in the hub that you have to check on these things if you have them. I don't remember ever working on one. We just had one here. And through operational forces, let me see. This places the best load. Let me see. Places the best load on the engine for optimal performance at high power settings and low airspeed. High power settings, low airspeed. Let's see if we can figure this out. High power. Low airspeed. What do you think you're going to be at? High pitch or low pitch?
Low pitch.
Why? What are you doing at high power, low airspeed?
Take off.
Climbing. You're flying around like this. All right. High airspeed, moderate power. Where are we there? We're in cruise. Cruise. Well, it's going to go to a
High pitch.
higher blade angle. Yeah, higher pitch. Pilot has no input due to advances. They're pretty rare. Let me see. Theory of operation. Use natural forces acting on blades and counterweights to achieve proper blade angle. The center line of the prop is behind the center line of the hub. See how it starts to get like, whoa. Yeah, this goes on for 3 pages. Yes, there was a time when I was like thinking this was a good idea. Okay. Let me see. What's it? There is a synchronizer inside. Why is there a synchronizer?
Keep them the same angle.
Keep them indexed. Keep the blades the same, right? So inside we're going to have a synchronizer. There is going to be in a prop that moves, you're going to have stops inside that you can set. So you want to make sure that the blades don't go to too high of an angle or too low of an angle. Because if you let it do it all on its own, it may go all the way to high angle. Then what? And it doesn't work. Go to low blade angle all the way to 0. Then what? No thrust. These are all bad things. So with inside, you're going to have stop bolts to set high and low blade angles. Let's see. All right, that is moving right along. Okay. Next one, this one's kind of cool, is the Beach Roby? Yeah, ROB, Beach Roby. Now I have to give you the name of the prop because it's just the easiest way to identify it. So the Copper's aromatic prop, by the way, let me see. Let's do this. Just for fun. Oh, he's a vintage collector. There used to be a website that actually had this guy, and he was still doing them. He said he had lost his type certificate data sheet, but was still making it for home builds. Now I don't see it anymore. Wasn't that kind of sad? So, all right. So Beach Roby. This is an adjustable propeller. We can tell right now by looking at the construction, the blades are made out of wood. Doesn't have to be, but I think this one was, with a hub. So the hub looks very familiar to what kind of hub we already looked at? Ground adjustable. All right, so this one is fully pilot adjustable. Let me see what kind of stuff do I have here. Constructions. Let me see.
In the air?
Yes, in the air. So Beach Roby. Let me see. Pilot adjustable. Well, that means in the air, because otherwise they're not supposed to touch on the ground. Pilot adjustable. Pilot adjustable.
More knobs.
Huh?
More knobs.
More knobs. All right, how does this one work?
Counterweighted.
Okay, so it has counterweights. So first thing we need to learn about counterweights, if we haven't already. Without counterweights, centrifugal twisting force causes the blade to go to low blade angle. With counterweights, it reverses it. So now it's going to make, you gotta think about it. Which way do you think the counterweights want to go when we're spinning this prop? Do you think they want to go that way? So they line up out here? Or do you think they're going to want to find the center right in here?
Right there.
You like that better?
Yeah.
Okay, so do I. So that means that's going to go that way. If that's going to go that way, which way is the blade going to go? Kind of roll out that way towards, I call it towards feather. This is feather, so higher pitch. So that means whenever you see a counterweight, CTF, centrifugal twist force, equals high blade angle. Okay, you got to get that. Props are super simple once you start figuring out just the tricks to it. Got a counterweight, CTF makes it go high blade angle. There are no exceptions to that rule. All right, so we know CTF makes it go to
High blade angle.
high blade angle. What makes it go to low blade angle? Aerodynamic twisting force has some aid to it. I can be honest, I don't know why this is counterweighted. It's an interesting thought. I've never really talked about it in a class before, that this is a counterweighted blade, and why would it be? Maybe I'll figure out as I keep talking. All right, so how does it work? We have, and this is the funny part, when it spins, it's got a big counterweight on the bottom because it's got to account for all this weight right here as it's spinning around. So you can't see it, but there's a big old lead weight that equals this on the other side to keep it in balance. You can see that it's electric, so the wires, they're really long because they wrap around. No, I'm just making all that up. Okay, this part right here does not move, obviously. Right, this doesn't move. this gear, it's stationary, and this gear behind there just moves a little bit. And then the prop spins, and you got to think, oh, wait a minute, the prop is spinning around in circles. This stuff's, what's that inside got to look like? Well, that's what the inside looks like. So there's your little pinion gear. Now, it could be either pilot controlled by electric switch, like the picture we just looked at, or through a little crank, it would crank this pinion gear, which is going to move this around. Okay? So this is, when I say stationary, it means it doesn't spin with the prop. So as you spin the pinion gear, it will spin this gear back and forth, and you can see it has slots that go fore and aft. All right? Inside of those slots rest this little pin and that little pin. So you can slide that in there and slide that. There's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. They slide in there. So as we turn the pinion gear, we turn this, we take this assembly right here, and we push it out and we push it in. See how that works? That's all it is. Then you take the arm, put the actuator pin in a hole in the arm. This can't be in the center. It's got to be offset. So when this goes forward, there's a pin in the blade that rotates it back and forth. Okay, so it's controllable, but it's not a constant speed. So the pilot's responsible.
So I think the counterweights keep that pin up against the blade. Because they're up against the arm. And so it's pushing that pin forward, and that keeps the counterweights keep it up against the arm.
I can see that.
Yeah.
In my experience, they don't let anything float.
Nothing floating.
Yeah, it's always pinned or captured in some way. But if maybe that's what they're doing, they let it float. I don't know. Possible. I like that. That would work. All right, so pilot control. So the pilot wants to take off, right? They're going to have to probably labeled high pitch, low pitch.
Yeah.
And so we get ready to take off. You dial it into
Low pitch.
low pitch. Go ahead and take off. Climb out. Maybe you want to back off power a little bit. You can back off your manifold a little bit. Look at your RPM. Go, back the RPM off a little bit. All right, level off. Pull back your manifold pressure. Crank it in, a little more pitch. That's it. Now, if you forget when you're going down, you forgot. It's going to keep that same pitch. You're coming down, you change your pitch a little bit more, maybe add a little bit more because you're coming down, right? Slow the plane down. So I think you'd be constantly kind of messing with this thing a little bit. There we go. I forgot I had other pictures. See, it does look captured. So this is that fork that moved in and out. Grabs this, moves it on the blade. See. All right, so those are 2 types of, not ground adjustable, but adjustable propellers. Not pilot adjustable. There weren't 2 types of pilot adjustable. There weren't 2 types of ground adjustable. There were 2 types of adjustable. One of them was pilot, and the other one was ground adjustable. Okay. Let me see. As a mechanic, you've been asked to work on these props. Who can work on the prop?
Repair station.
Pretty much repair station. What can you do?
Take it off, put it back on.
Take it off, put it back on. What else?
Angle.
Adjust the angles on the ground adjustable.
Max limits.
Dress the propeller, pull out nicks. Painting, corrosion prevention. Inspection. What kind of inspections would you do?
Okay.
This goes through the whole thing, all of them. What are we talking about so far?
Dye penetrate.
Sure, you can do a dye penetrant.
Visual.
You need a really big bit.
Generally speaking, you can't anymore. There was a fixed pitch propeller that went on the Cessna 152, the Macaulay, that required 100-hour, I think it's 100-hour NDT inspections. Back when I had the NDT shop, it allowed you to do it. The service bulletin said, somebody with the proper knowledge can do this. Well, they've decided that that was not the thing to say. Now it says the person with the proper level 2 NDT certification can perform this. So you're not going to do it, are you? No, because you do not have a level 2 NDT. So you're probably not going to be doing that. Well, you're definitely not going to be doing that. If it is one of those things where you have a nick in your propeller and you've dressed it out and it said, and perform an NDT, can you do that?
No.
Well, if it just says, it usually says, and perform an NDT.
Yeah, I mean,
It didn't give any restrictions, did it? If you have the proper equipment and knowledge and training, that's within your scope of practice.
part of the repair.
So you can do it as part of the repair. All right? But generally speaking, minor nicks, dings, painting, corrosion prevention. But you have to inspect it. What do you inspect for on any prop?
Cracks.
Always. Where are you going to find cracks? Most likely.
Or the bolts.
Out of the tips. Tips are most likely to crack. They're the fastest. They're under a lot of stress. Adjustable props. Where are you going to find your cracks? Any kind of adjustable, constant speed. Down at the hub. That has the most stress on it. So you're going to be looking down at the hubs for cracks at the hub, looseness of the propeller, security of the bolts, leaks. So all the props we talked about so far pretty much have some sort of fluid. The Coppers has fluid inside, has engine oil. The Beach, I think, has some engine oil inside of it. All the constant speeds do for sure. It's how they work. Right? So these are all just, it goes with everything. Now, if you're taking your oral practical and you have a fixed pitch prop, what are you going to look for? Don't say leaks, okay? Because I would, oh really? Tell me about that. Where would it be leaking? What would it be? Oh, I'm going to have fun with that one. What would be leaking and how?
Yeah.
Explain it. This is, and so like this part right here filled with fluid, or so do fixed pitch props leak?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
hope not.
You have a serious problem.
Yeah.
It's got a hole in it.
Yeah. All right. But the prop seal could be leaking. All right. So we look for cracks. What about tracking?
Yeah.
Okay. Tracking. If it's a ground adjustable, what can we check?
Blade angle.
Blade angles. Right. When would you check blade angles?
Whenever it says
That's correct.
When you're
See, the problem is nobody in here is going to read the manual, so we got to go outside that.
Oh,
anyway,
what?
So
I hope so.
Every time it gets under.
whenever it says on YouTube, I don't know.
Oh, God.
No, when would you check blade angles?
Every 100 hours. Every 100 hours or annual? Whichever comes first.
Every time you take it off, then put it in 20.
Oh, if they're adjustable. Well, they're not adjustable.
Prop strike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming off that. It's a prop strike. Your blade angles are gone. Let me tell you something. Usually. Well, you kind of check them. So if I'm doing an annual inspection, I'm going to check static RPM. Those static RPMs within limits. Do I have to check my blade angles? No. What if there's no vibration? What if it vibrates really bad, but it's within? I would check it then. So I would check it on condition.
Okay.
Yeah, not everything has to be done all the time. I would just check it on condition. Hey, if the thing ran well, felt smooth, or to use your vernacular, I would see if it ran okay. Because that's what you guys say. Well, I'd see if it ran okay. Really? I'm going to feel it. So if it felt smooth and gave me the proper static RPM, then I would be
Okay.
pretty much satisfied that I don't need to get up there with the protractor and check it. Right? Focus on something else. Right, so we're going to check for cracks, leaks, prop dents, dings. All right, so know all that stuff. Huh? In the break time, all right. I was on a roll too. I was going to tell you something really funny.